amigos, ¿cómo están? I'm Hannah from SpeakBetterSpanish. Today we're going to be talking about when to use por versus para in Spanish. I know, it's a really difficult decision to make when we should use one versus the other. So just to give you guys kind of a big picture overview, so we use por like a scale balancing both sides of the equation, and we use para like an arrow going from the point of origin to the destination, usually in a straight line. Now, there are a lot more nuances to when we use one versus the other, so I'll go into those briefly, but just so you guys know, there's a resource that I use with my students that I really love. I feel like it explains por and para in one of the best ways that I've ever seen, and it has a lot of really good examples as well. So you can actually get this resource on Amazon. It's called the Practice Makes Perfect Spanish Pronouns and Prepositions Workbook. It's around $20 or so. And it has a ton of other content in there, but I'm just going to take the explanation directly from there because I think they explain it really, really well. So for para, we can use it for destination, whether that's real or imagined destination, even recipient of an action, indicating direction and or final destination, or to indicate an action's aim or objective, including profession. We can also use para for purpose, whether that's purpose before an infinitive like para escribir, or whether that's the purpose for doing something, which would translate as in order to before an infinitive. We can use para for deadline, so expressing a specific time limit or deadline in the future to express a limited time span in the future. We can also use para as a standard, so expressing comparison to a certain standard, an opinion or personal standard. Yeah, those are the reasons that we use para. And for por, we'll use that for duration, so expressing duration of time, expressing periods of time during the 24-hour day, the English use of the Latin word per, for example, miles per hour, something like that. We also use por for substitution or exchange, so indicating an equal exchange or trade, expressing substitution on behalf of, in place of, expressing thanks and gratitude. We use por for motivation, indicating because of or having done something, por plus infinitive, expressing a motive for doing something, expressing a reason for doing something. So that would be por plus noun or por plus infinitive. We can also use por with movement, expressing means of transportation, expressing means of sending messages or information, indicating a point of intermediate destination, so not our final destination, or even movement within an area. We use por for emotions, expressing like or dislike of an emotion, of someone or something. And we have a bunch of idioms with por as well. So idioms are expressions that don't translate literally, that we just have to memorize. There's quite a few like por aquí, por ahí, por ejemplo, por eso, por esto, por favor, por fin, and so on. So I know that's a really long list, and if you haven't seen it for yourself, it probably sounds a little bit confusing, which is why I really like that workbook. There's lots of other free resources you can use online. And one thing that I recommend for my students when we're studying por and para is to make kind of like a cheat sheet. So get a piece of paper, fold it in half, write on one side por, write on the other side para, and then write out the different categories that I just mentioned. So some are kind of bigger categories, some are little subcategories within those bigger categories, and write out an example under each one. So as you're starting to get familiar with por and para, you can look for different exercises online in the workbook or otherwise throughout your Spanish studies, and you'll have this cheat sheet to refer back to until you start to get more comfortable. And just like anything, the more that you do it, the easier it gets, the more natural it becomes to figure out whether you need to use por or para. But I hope that this video helped you guys. If it did, be sure to subscribe to my channel. You can also book a free consultation with me if you would like to maybe explore a couple of classes to work on por and para together and get more comfortable with it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hasta luego.